The 2023 Pro Farmer Crop Tour on U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer. Pioneer combines cutting-edge research with one of the largest local testing programs in the industry to help farmers succeed. Pioneer, what's next happens here. And by BASF, helping you do the biggest job on earth.
Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. Every year, bringing you the show from Pro Farmer Crop Tour, the 31st year of Pro Farmer Crop Tour. And Chip, this one is definitely going down in the books.
Oh, it certainly is. Even before Pro Farmer started running it, I was out on crop tour. 1988, I remember going out on that crop tour when in the middle of a drought. 2012, I think if we had the genetics in the field that we had in 2012, the crops this year would have looked a lot similar to what we saw that year. But here we are, 2023. We've got some extremely stressful conditions, and I'm telling you, between the management that the guys are putting on the crop and the hybrid and varieties that are available to them right now, the ability of both the corn and the soybean crops to build a yield has been unbelievable. The question is now, can you hold on to it?
Well, and Brian, there was a lot of talk about 2012 kind of in that June time frame before that derecho blasted through Illinois. We were seeing those dry conditions, talking about is this 2012 or is this 1988? Well, here we are in Minnesota, and there's some talks that this is similar to 1988.
Well, I think to some degree in some areas, and what made 2012 so special in a bad way was that it was so widespread.
Yeah.
And, we've got pockets of it this year. So I don't think it's apples to apples comparison by any means, and that's the big thing. And Chip alluded to it, and I think that the key is that we built big yields in some of these areas ahead of this extreme heat. And that was the story of the week in terms of Crop Tour in my eyes is the extreme heat, record heat indexes across the central corn belt as we were touring through.
Chip, have you ever seen a crop this mature?
Yes. Yeah, 2012.
Yeah, 2012 when they were running combines.
Right. We saw combines. Now, I don't know if we've seen as much corn already chopped as we've seen as we saw in southern Nebraska this year. So the harvest is underway. It's just being chopped. And I think part of the reason that they're doing that is they're going to have to cut more acres to fill a pit this year. And I don't know what that's going to do the harvested acreage percentage.
Brian, you left for Ohio last weekend, and then on Thursday, you went through eastern Iowa. You went through your home area. How quickly did the crop change this week with that heat?
Unbelievable. 5 days and unbelievable. It seemed like it was 5 weeks on the change, and I honestly couldn't believe it. And we didn't experience the extreme heat out in the eastern Corn Belt. We had a great day on Monday, a really pleasant day on Tuesday, and then we got into the heat. But these guys got cooked out here. I mean, Chip had it every single day on the western side.
Yeah. There's been this question, is the crop drying down or is it dying down?
Oh, it's dying.
Dying down.
Where is it dying down specifically? What pockets did you really see that take place, Chip?
South Dakota, Nebraska, west central Iowa, southeast half of Minnesota.
Brian?
That leaves me with eastern Iowa.
Yeah.
It wasn't Ohio, Indiana, or Illinois for the most part.
And it wasn't all bad. I mean, you started out in Ohio, and Ohio got rains this week. How was that crop in Ohio?
Ohio was impressive. The number one takeaway for me this year on Crop Tour from the eastern side was that the Ohio crop, both corn and soybeans, is impressive, and they got rains. They got rains after we came through, so they need time and they need rains, and they got one of those already this week.
What was the biggest surprise for you in the West, Chip?
In the West, I just felt terrible on Tuesday, going through southeast Nebraska. And the reason I did was because guys came back that day, and I wasn't in corn that day. I was sampling soybeans. But they came back and they basically said, listen, every field you went in, the ear's hanging already. The bean crop, it looked like we were watching it die while we were out there in the field. And I think as it turns out, that's exactly what was happening, because just two days later, that crop looks a lot different than what it did when we were there on Tuesday.
Well, there's still a lot of question marks. And so how does this change the overall picture? And we'll look at demand. We're going to do that coming up. But stay with us. We need to take a quick break, and then we'll have much more right here on U.S. Farm Report.